Hello everyone, that is the new Touareg and I'm here to see if that can stack up to its new price tag. On the exterior of the car, you can clearly see that Volkswagen didn't really want to mess up the design of the previous generation's car or the pre-facelift. They did give it some black accents, as you can see over here. You also do get an R badge signifying that this is the R line. And obviously you have your Volkswagen emblem housing the radar cruise control. But much of it has honestly just been an evolution rather than a revolution. I do like the new wheels that they use on here. It's almost like dinner plate wheels in a sense. It's almost like you can literally come here and almost remove them. So that's really nice to have. Running on Bridgestone tires. You also do have your R badge over here, which is very reminiscent of the Volkswagen Golf R, although this is not the fully Volkswagen Touareg R version. More on that when you get to the engine. But obviously the biggest change is the rear. I mean, this rear taillight design, it is unbelievable. It's like they went to Porsche and then they were like, please design us a rear taillight bar that just signifies that this is a more luxurious SUV. This is a more upscale SUV. And obviously they did a phenomenal job with that. I mean, if I just do that real quick, obviously it still has the sequential indicators, but if I do turn on the lights later on, you'll see that the entire back end just lights up, even the Volkswagen emblem. That is such a cool feature to have and such a cool novelty. But other than that, it's honestly pretty much the same car. It's like they didn't want to mess up the design, and for good reason. I honestly always loved how the Touareg looked. It was such a good looking upscale SUV type car that didn't really need much of changing. And I'm so glad that they just tweaked it a bit just to make it a little bit more evolved and a little bit more exciting. So now let's head on to the interior. So coming onto the interior of the new Touareg, I do have to say they didn't also change much that what you expect with what a new car would be or a facelifted car would be. Now you do get a fully digital gauge cluster. That is a very nice feature to have today, especially in new cars, knowing like they all have these insane amounts of features and technology that you just need one sort of screen to just integrate that all together. I also do not like how touch-sensitive buttons are becoming a thing in the car industry, especially with Volkswagen. I really do think like they need to go back to more physical touch buttons, such as a button on the steering wheel on each side, just because for touch-sensitive buttons, it just doesn't feel like you're using it as much as you think. Like, just by doing that, my fingers are doing so much work in this, and I accidentally pressed the voice command and I honestly didn't even need it. So that's what I mean by saying manufacturers really do need to go back to physical touch buttons on the steering wheel. It's just so much more better to use. And then coming here to the infotainment system, when this car came out, I still remember it. This infotainment system was so marvelous to me because I was like, that is a gigantic infotainment system and system in general. If I just put my hand over there, you can clearly see the size of it. It's just so big, it's so wide. And then coming to the navigation system, it does lag a bit, as you can see over there. It's not going to be as quick or as intuitive as something like an Audi Q7 or even an Audi Q8. But again, it's still a nice feature to have and a nice function to know, like if you get lost anywhere, you have navigation to take you there and also bring you back as well. And yeah, I don't know if you saw that in the video, but as you come close to the screen, it actually starts to bring up some information displays based on what you're going to press or based on what you're going to use, just to like almost pre-start anything that you need to use or need to go to. And that's a very nice feature to have. I don't know if you can do it again. Yeah, probably only did it once. And then coming here, you do have a wireless charging pad. You can't see it right now, but because it is really, really dark, but it is there. And you are rest assured that if you have a lot of cell phones and a lot of devices, you can just charge it over there. And then coming here to the gear selector, it's so big. It's literally the size of my hand. Literally the exact size of my hand. Then obviously, since this is an SUV, it has the different drive modes because it has so much torque. And Top Gear tested this a very long time ago with the very old generation Touareg that it actually towed a plane. So that just tells you how much performance in terms of off-roading that this car can do. Then you have a leather stitched dashboard over here. And another thing I also really like is that when you turn on the lights at night, it actually lights up for the ambient lighting over there. So that's a very, very nice feature to have. And then also it shows you the Touareg badge just to tell you that this is the new one instead of the pre-facelifted one. Speaking of storage or lack of storage, the center console, there's literally nothing that you can put in here. Maybe a small iPad or very small items, but other than that, you're not putting a lot in here. I mean, if I put the key, it's already taking up most of the space. So I really do wish Volkswagen had actually done something to give you a little bit more room and a little bit more practicality. In the glove box, it's actually very, very good. As you can see with the microphone box, it does fit in there very well, and you can actually fit in quite a bit of stuff. In the rear space of the new Touareg, you can clearly see like they did take some of the design of the Golf R and they actually implemented it into the seat. So the stitching and patterning right here is very reminiscent of the Golf, and that is a nice feature to have. It's almost like has this carbon fiber effect, but obviously this is leather stitching. You also do have your center armrest with your two cup holders and your middle part for something like a Red Bull drink. You also do have a lot of space in here. I did sit in here earlier on, and I will say there is a lot of space in here. You have a lot of leg room, you have a lot of headroom, which is unbelievable because you wouldn't think, like, maybe you are looking at this car from the outside, that it would have this much space and this much practicality. And then obviously you have your panoramic sunroof going all the way, which is really, really nice, just to show your passengers and to enjoy the experience of driving this on long distance at a constant rate. And you also do have rear zone climate controls, so that's a very nice feature and very nice to know, like when you're going on long road trips, or your people who are sitting back here are also taken care of as well. So now let's go check out the boot practicality. Now that we're at the rear of the car, we need to check out how practical it is, and I just really do love this rear taillight design. It's just so epic, it's just so cool. It makes the car a lot more above than what it is. So let's check out the rear practicality. Now looking inside here, you have a lot of space, like a lot of space. Like you can fit maybe like 5-6 bags, travel bags, carry-on bags. You also do have this parcel shelf over here, so you need to protect anything if you're carrying along. You can be rest assured nothing's going to be stolen or nothing's going to be looked into. You also do have your tow bar over here. If I press it, tow bar button. It takes a while, but when you do, it welcomes you to say thank you for choosing me. So that's a very nice feature to have. Also, to fold it away, you just press the second button. It takes a while, I'm not gonna lie, but once it does, it's gone. You also do have your pneumatic air suspension, so to lower and heighten the car, because if you're carrying stuff and you want to lower it and to put stuff in to make it easier, it's just a nice feature to have. Then looking underneath the cover, you do have your spare saver spare wheel, just to be assured whenever you're traveling anywhere, you have a flat tire or something goes wrong, you'll be very much protected. And then I did fold down the rear seats just to show you how much more practical it does get, and there's a lot of storage in here. So now let's go check out the engine. Coming to the front end of this car, it uses the very familiar 3-liter turbocharged V6 diesel engine, putting at around 190 kilowatts in the R-Line trim level, which is this version, as you can see, and around 600 newton meters of torque, which is at around 263 horsepower. Now there is a base level, which is at around 170 kilowatts, but that only puts at 230 horsepower and 500 newton meters of torque. Owing to its heritage as being the very capable towing SUV, I'd rather just go for the R-Line trim level. Or for those of you who enjoy performance, there is a hardcore R version, just like the Tiguan R and the Golf R, putting out at around 340 kilowatts and 700 newton meters of torque. Yeah, but with that engine, it uses a plug-in hybrid to assist it, just so it can give you a lot more boost and a lot more power, owing to its nature as being the budget Cayenne or the budget Q7. It makes sense why they put a plug-in hybrid version. Now that I am at the end of this in-depth review of the new Touareg, what do I think about it? Well, for the price, it really is stepping up into very expensive car territory. I mean, at almost 2 million rand, you basically are getting a facelifted car than a generally all new, all spec'd out brand new car. Now they do have a lot more features this time, especially with the digital gauge cluster. But as a car, I don't know. For almost 2 million rand, that is a lot of money asking for this car. It's a lot of money, especially like this is more of a facelift than an entirely new generation. I do love that rear taillight design. It is a very, very cool taillight design. But for the price, I really don't understand. Maybe when I do drive it, or when we do drive it. Sadly, I couldn't do it today because it just came in. But stick around for the future. That's where you should be liking, commenting, and subscribing. But in general, as a whole package, you really are getting pretty much the same car as a previous facelifted generation. So again, I just want to say a massive thank you to Volkswagen here in Four Ways. Just make sure that you click their details down below. I will put everything in the description box. Obviously, we've done many reviews here. We did the M240i and many other reviews. So just make sure you just check them out. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.